Good old-fashioned racism. Views were not important to me, but community is, and it's hard to build community if your viewership sucks. I never thought of the end of my channel. Reading blogs does not do well when you are a Black content creator. Not just racism, it's colonialism, it's capitalism. Equity matters, equity matters, equity matters, right? All right, so welcome to my YouTube channel, Loc'D. Coming to you a little crusty, and also just something was just on my mind, and I said I have to post it now. So let me get more centered. Today, as I'm just, doing my homework or whatever, I look online and I saw that Capri's Book Island had a video that said, "I'm leaving Booktube." And a couple months ago, I thought about doing a sit-down video that I'm doing right now, talking about the myth of Black booktubers, because that's kind of what it feels like. And in this video, I just think that it's important to uplift what Capri is saying. It's things that you have already heard me say. You heard Ashley from the realm of Kidlit Comics talk about. You've heard a plethora of Black... Hold up. Are you trying to tell? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hold on one second. The chair decided to head out. I gotta just catch my breath. I'm trying to say some real shit and my chair just humbled the fuck out of me. Anyway, so in this video, I did keep a note of the video that I wanted to do called The Myth of Black Booktubers. And I'm gonna save that part for the end of the video, but I took a lot of notes when Capri was talking, because I want to make sure that every point of what she said was echoed. And I also want to talk about why I think that is. It really boils down to racism. Huh? Good old-fashioned racism. Racism is intertwined in everything that we do, especially from a United States of America perspective. And it's not just racism. It's colonialism, it's capitalism, it's imperialism, it's a patriarchy. Like, we can go down that rabbit hole on how each of those things are linked. But when we're talking about Booktube, particularly, I think Booktube has a problem with Black people, and it also likes to really hype up people who are more white adjacent, who want to really be in the white gaze, and it really hypes white people, specifically white people who are conventionally attractive. And then you have women like myself or Capri, who we're talking about in this video, a woman who's covered in tattoos, who then is feeling like she can't be seen or heard because she's covered in tattoos. What I would never understand about the Bookies community is how often you have to feel like you have to shuck and jive just to get your motherfucking point across. Just to get your motherfucking point across. I feel like Black creators have to do so much just to be heard, really. And Capri also agreed with that sentiment as well. It's like, why do I have to do all these things and be mad and be angry for you then to come to my channel? Like, why is it that most of Capri, and I'm looking at her channel right now, her video saying I'm leaving Booktube, these gnats is trying to take me. Her video of saying she's leaving Booktube has more views than any other video that she has done, I would say, in the last year. More than the last year? Years? Yeah. And the thing is, I understand that. And I'm also sad that she doesn't look familiar for me. And there's also an issue with our algorithm being racist as hell. And you're like, oh my God, Brie, how can an algorithm be racist? Because people built it. You think those people weren't racist? You think them people didn't have biases and how they thought the world should be? You think they're not using westernized standards in the algorithm, take for example, Grammarly, something that I use because I have dyslexia. I can write a paper and I can have that paper be filled with Black language, right? African American English. Grammarly is going to tell me I wrote the paper wrong. It is. It's going to tell me I wrote it wrong because what is finna? What is gonna? What is he be mad? That doesn't fall in line with standard English. So who did that? Okay. Just make sure you and I were on the same page. It was getting dicey there. And if you see me looking to the left, it's because let me put it in front of me. It's just a list that I have of questions, not questions. I have a list of things I want to make sure I talk about that was in Capri's video. Okay. So Capri talked about the fact that she joined Booktube about 8 years ago. And I think I'm coming up on year 7, right? And she talked about her reasoning for joining Booktube was the lack of support and representation and just diversity that was present. And I think a lot of us feel that way. I don't ever like to make Black people look monolithic at all. But I don't know one Black person who's joined this community and not thought they need some diversity. We need other people. We need other types of Black people. We need other types of marginalized people. Not all marginalized people come in one, size fit all. So I think that is a sentiment that a lot of us have of being like, okay, let's see what's up. Let's get into it. I joined Booktube because I felt like a lot of the booktubers that were around when I started was around my age, were millennials, especially the Black ones. We're talking about Black booktubers here. And I can think about 10 of them, and none of them, and I mean none of them, is a booktuber to this right now. And that's 6-7 years ago. The only person I think who is still doing, I know for a fact that she is still doing Booktube content, and she was here when I started, is Ashley. And outside of Ashley, there is another woman named Dee Be Reading. And then everyone else kind of might post a video once a year or just completely don't engage at all. Naya Reason Smiles don't engage. I haven't seen a video from her in years. Jerry from Onyx Pages, she comes on every once in a while. It's just a lot of people. O'Shea Reads, I don't see her anymore. There was a Black woman who lived in Germany. I always forget her name, but she used to do like wine in a book type of thing. She's not on here anymore. Shane, who I love Shane content. Shane is getting more like coming back to Booktube now, but there were gaps. Like it is quite often for Black booktubers to either leave this platform and you never hear from them, or they're sending you with I'm leaving Booktube. And that's exact words from Capri. And I actually put it in parentheses so I can tell you guys when I'm quoting her, but that is the truth. I was waiting for the lie. I watched the whole video and I took notes and I was like, I'm really trying to find the lie here, And then another thing that she talked about is being a content creator, especially a Black content creator, is hard because we'll do something super creative and people will not even pay attention to it. So you're doing all this work, even though you're doing it for yourself and it's something that you think is cool. People also want recognition. Let's not play crazy. Let's not play that you don't want to be recognized. People want to be recognized to different degrees, don't get me wrong, but people want to be recognized for their hard work. Even when it comes to me, and I think I might just say my thoughts as I'm talking about this, because saving it to the end, I'm going to end up repeating stuff. But even for me, my channel is only popular when I'm talking about Blackoween or if I'm talking about Blackoween. That's it. And don't get me wrong, I like it when people want to engage with Blackoween. I think it's a beautiful thing. I created Blackoween so that Black folks' books can be uplifted. That was the reason, right? The original reason why I created Blackoween. So I don't mind that. However, it does suck when I'm doing a vlog or doing a sit down video or just doing things. It's one of the reasons why I'm not going to say I don't put effort into my channel. It's one of the reasons why I don't do, because my favorite thing to do, sorry, I'm inserting a comment while I'm talking. One of my favorite things to do is to do a theme vlog. I fucking love a theme vlog. I love when I'm like, I'm going to read from this author. My Shanore Williams vlog that I did recently past summer was everything to me. Loved it. Loved it. I love a vlog when I'm cooking and talking about my process of cooking. I love vlogs that it's like based on a book series or, like I said, an individual author, anything or a genre. Like I love to do every once in a while, like me reading romance, or I did a bunch of theme vlogs that focus on Blackoween a few years ago. Like I love a theme vlog, but ain't nobody checking for those vlogs. Capri said something along the lines, and I didn't write it down, the exact quote, but I wrote down like how it made me feel. But Capri said, you can't be regular and be a Black content creator. And I 100% agree. A couple years ago, you probably noticed a shift in my content where I wasn't doing this much of sit down videos because I didn't like it. I don't like doing this. I'm doing this because I think it's important to talk about the pitfalls and the unfortunate things that's happening in our book community that a lot of people try to act like doesn't exist. I think that's important to do that. But I don't like doing sit down videos. I am a vlogging day in the life. Let's talk about what I'm doing. Let's talk about what I'm reading. Girl, that is what I really like. And I know that vlogs do not do well. Reading vlogs does not do well when you are a Black content creator. I know that, but I still do it because it's what I want to do. But it's also exhausting, like Capri said, because it's like, I'm trying to why can't I just be regular too? Why can't I just be mediocre as well? Does mediocrity don't extend grace to Black folks? Is that what it is? Or you just got to be white? Or white presenting? Or aligning yourself with whiteness? I see so many creators of color. And this is not me bashing. This is not me saying anything. But I see how when you first started, how your reading taste went from being like to then. And I'm like, how did we get there? And I will never be one of those creators to tell you, it's specifically Black creators, I will never be one of those Black creators that demonize you for reading books by white folks, because I just don't think that's productive. On the other hand, I do think it's concerning when a person talks to me about reading and really they're very proud with being an avid reader, and everybody is Waite. I mean, everybody is Waite. I am going to look at you like, how can you be an avid reader and claim to have critical thinking skills when you're only reading from one perspective? How does that elicit growth? And that's across the board. You got to read from multiple different thought process. And yes, you could be reading just queer stuff, but they're all white. You know what I mean? You got to diversify what you're reading because you're just one lens. Even your cultural or your identity group is just one part of the puzzle. So in order to understand the world, the full puzzle, if we're going to use that analogy, you have to understand how other people think as well. So when there are a lot of white content creators on this space that we call Booktube, just reading white only, I question that. I question that. And it's not even just white creators. It's just only for me. Most of you know that I love reading horror. Horror is my bread and butter. It's where I get down. Okay? However, at first, I was only reading white horror. I ain't know no better. And then I said, I gotta get out of here because it's getting wild over there. And then I started reading black horror. And I said, wow, it's like a warm hug. And then I started reading indigenous horror, and I'm like, oh, there are similarities in black horror and indigenous horror. But the storytelling is more descriptive. And I like that. But they both talk about the history of each group of people. And there's so many different types of history. And I'm like, black people just give it to you straight up, no chaser. And that's a diaspora trait, I believe, in black literature. So I was like, oh, I love this. And then I started reading Latine horror. And I was like, oh, it's giving whimsical in the storytelling. It's getting like black people can be very, very metaphoric when they're writing. Also indigenous people. But I think Latine authors, they're blending in some whimsical kind of vibe. And I said, oh, I love reading horror from these three group of people. And then I said, let me see what's going on in Asia. And then I started reading some thrillers by folks from Sri Lanka and folks from India. And I said, wow, love it over here. Great storytellers. Started reading horror from Japanese writers. I'm like, y'all liking a lot of body dismemberment, but I can get down with the text. I'm saying all that to say is that you gotta have diversity even in what you're reading. That's how you understand the world. That's how critical thinking is developed, progressed, and practiced. So we gotta work on that in the book community. Because right now we suck. We suck. For sure. Another thing that Capri talked about is when George Floyd was murdered and how everybody was rushing to subscribe to black content creators. And we know this. Ashley from Bookish Realm have talked about this. Erica from the Broken Spine, I forgot the name of her YouTube, talked about this. So many of us have talked about that and how that greatly impacted the performance of your channel because people are coming over, they're subscribing, like Capri said, they're just subscribing, but they're not watching. They're not watching the videos, they just subscribe. And that hurts your channel. Capri talks about views were not important to me, but community is. And it's hard to build community if your viewership sucks. That's really the double-edged sword of it all. It's like when I look at creators who are bigger than me and I'm like, wow, you got a lot going on and that feels intense. That feels intense. But I'm also like, that type of exposure would help my channel as well. It would expand my community. And when Capri talks about like she found her community with her Patreon, I wholeheartedly agree. Because I feel like my Patreon understands me and I can say things and it's understood, or I can talk about ideas and it's received well and people are engaging, versus it kind of makes you feel, I'm gonna just keep it real. It sucks when you spend a lot of time editing, post a video and nobody's watching it. And when I say nobody's watching it, I don't mean zero. I just mean like the views are low. Like it is incredibly difficult for me to get 1,000 views on a video. Incredibly. And I just be like, I'm not shucking and jiving. Folks. So if you're looking for a nigga that's gonna shuck and jive, I ain't that nigga. That's just really what it is. I'm just showing up, telling you about my life, telling you about what I'm reading. If depression is here, I can't listen. I ain't got that energy. And I don't think I ever will, truthfully. So if I just got to be doing what I'm doing and I like what I'm doing, trying to, stay to my schedule of putting a video out, that's what it is. And I too, like Capri, have even had these conversations. I don't know if I had these conversations with my Patreon. I probably did. But I've definitely had this conversation with friends of being like, I actually want to quit Booktube. Because to me, it's not a lot of payout. It's like I'm going into my 7th year. I am in my 7th year in Booktube, and look at my subscriber count. Look at my views. They suck. And it doesn't help that every video that you do on the back end, YouTube have certain parameters on telling you that your shit suck. And it makes you don't want to do it. And then the other part of me is like, no, Brie. Fuck that. Still show up. Still take space. We've lost so many good ones. We lost Monet. We lost Robin. Sometimes we get Ray. It's really rough. I'm talking about Black booktubers who started off in the booktube world. I'm not talking about Black booktubers who started off on TikTok and bought their audience with them, because TikTok is a faster audience. You can blow up quick. You can blow up fast over there. You can, if you play the algorithm right. And another thing I believe Capri alluded to, but I'm just gonna say it is exhausting. Like Capri said several times of how several different aspects of the book community on YouTube is exhausting. But it's exhausting being a Black book content creator, because it's like, I know that this is an engine that you're fighting against, right? I know that I got to post here, post there, post everywhere. And maybe if I did those things, my viewership would be better. Maybe. But I ain't got the time. And then the algorithm is also not helping you. So you're just out here just living your life and hoping for the best, truly. And one of the things that really resonated with me with Capri is when she said, I never thought of the end of my channel. Because when I created my channel, I never thought of the end of it. Sometimes I'm like, life is so hard because of school and stuff, and it's hard to, really show up and do a lot of things. But it's really hard to be on the internet and nobody's watching your shit. Or if they are watching your shit, it's not enough to be significant to what YouTube decides as the parameters, right? YouTube even have a parameter on, there is a threshold that you have to reach in order for them to pay you. And people get so shocked when I tell them this. Like, I often don't get paid on YouTube. Often. And people I know, and most of them are white, the people I know who are booktubers and put out videos in the same rate as me and probably have a similar sub count are getting paid every month. Every month. Not me. Each of my videos, I might make $5. $5. And let me make sure I would like to be as transparent as possible. So let me pull up an example. So for example, let me screenshot this so I can add it to this video so you can see it. So what you're looking at is, it's telling me that I got 4,056 views in the last 28 days. That means my viewership went down 644 less. And really, when it comes to that section, I don't pay it any mind, because sometimes, rarely, I'll upload a video that's I have an emotion or it's Blackoween and it'll go up high, but that's not the regular, right? So then it says I've increased my sub account by 72, right? But also $15.15. $15.15. So now when we look at the revenue, so now I'm putting up the content performance, right? And in the content performance, this telling me in the last 28 days, I made $12.27. And the vlogs that I've posted have been less than $5. I have a timer I'm making money from, like dollars. I think I made collectively maybe $30 from that video, and I posted that timer 2 years ago. So you do the math over time, it's not that much. But this is what my stuff looks like. This is what it looks like. And then to give you another thing, it says, how much am I earning in the last 6 months? Last September, I got $41. 42, let's round up. October, I got $22. November, I got 47, big spender. I know. December, I got $33. In January, I got $49. And in February, this is the last day of the month. And granted, I haven't posted a lot this month. $15. Like, this is even the months that you can see that I was like working harder than others. It's like December, I was kind of grinding. November, I really had a bunch of videos go out. I had 2 or 3 videos go out that month and still just made $46.52. And a part of me used to be like, if you put out more videos, you'll meet the threshold. But why? Why do I need to do that? So I'm showing you guys just to let you know that what Capri was saying was not fictitious. I don't think what she was saying was just trying to be, woe is me, another black girl, because I know that's what a lot of you may think. You may not type it, okay? But I know that's what folks are thinking. And it's just really heartbreaking being in this community where it's just really rough. You know, she even talked about like how a lot of creators don't even rate their books anymore because it's so hard being a creator and being consumed because other people are consumed about what you're doing, what you're reading, how you're doing it, all those things. And you don't even rate anymore because people get so upset because you didn't like their favorite book, which is the issue within any book community, really. I would argue that. Because there was like 2 years I did not rate a book I read. I didn't put it on Goodreads. I didn't put it on Storygraph. I'm just trying to get back into putting all the books I read on Storygraph. But it is a rough, rough world out there. It really is. And it's like, we're supposed to be reading, supposed to be critical in our reading. And it's just, I don't know what culture we're in right now in the book community. Maybe you guys have some insight in the comments. But I don't know what it is. I feel like if you are not giving white woman realness, okay, if you are not giving us aesthetics, if you ain't got the clean girl aesthetics going for you, babes, it's looking rough out here. It's looking rough out here. And it's just like, why do you need all those things to talk about a book? Why do you need all those things? I just don't truly understand that. And the last thing that I will say is shout out to Capri for making this video. Shout out to the many other Black content creators who have made similar videos. It is disheartening that we've lost another Black content creator on YouTube. And the sad thing is, I don't think she will be the last. And I've been, like I said, I'm in my 7th year, and I've seen so many people come and go. So many people leave this community. You know, there's a creator, her name is Chloe, and she had a channel called Thistle and Verse, and she stopped doing content. Like, you guys, we are losing really good critical thinkers and really good content creators who are Black because of racism and because people have a view of what a person reviewing a book should look like, and because we are being forced to battle against algorithms, and because we got to have things happening like that, because we have to have things be clickbait, you know, because we have to have a title. And don't get me wrong, as a content creator, I understand why you need to have things be like, the title be catchy enough for somebody to click. But why can't you just click because the title sound interesting? And I don't know if that's just me being just an old bitch, but I hate when I do the A/B thing, and the YouTube, when you're like trying to figure out which title and which thumbnail got people to come to your video. I did that a few times and then I stopped doing it because I can't work like that. I can't work like that. I just have to write a title, that whatever title come to my head, and then I have to give the video out. I can't operate like that. That is literally gonna send me. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't do well on this platform. And I think it's a reason why a lot of people who are Black don't do well on this platform. It's just trying to fight against the algorithm and people who only want white creators for the most part. That equates to me as shucking and jiving, and I cannot do it. I cannot do it. I will not do it. So the only way I can do this thing and not send you guys a video if I'm leaving Booktube is showing up as myself. The only concession I had to make was this bookshelf in the back, because I had so many books in one bookshelf, and that one bookshelf is still very sturdy. It's still my favorite bookshelf. I have it in my bedroom now, but it just didn't hold all the books that I have. So I was like, I have to get a set of books, all look the same, because uniformity is important to me as far as like furniture-ish. That's the one concession I said, girl, you need more bookshelves. But I just can't. I think it's unfair in the book community and in real life because they parallel each other, of how much you have to do to be seen, how much you have to do to be heard. And we can't sit here and pretend that these things don't exist. We can't sit here and pretend that, these things are impacting us. We can't do that. We can't pretend that it's not there, because you can look at my video and look at another person's video, or the person have proximity to whiteness, and not think like, oh, there's a clear difference between Bree's video and their video, even their content. And it's difficult. And I think it's like, I'm currently a Black woman in a predominantly white field that's going to another predominantly white field. I know how it feels to be the only one, or being told you're too loud, you're too this, you're too that, or being told racist stuff because you chose to exist and you chose to show up as yourself. And I don't find Booktube to be any different than those fields. I don't think Booktube is a lucrative or a place you can turn to if you're like, I want to turn my hobby into a monetary thing as a Black person. There are outliers, don't get me wrong. I've seen people channel blow up who are Black. Most of them are lighter than me. I've seen some outliers. I've seen some good things happen, especially on that TikTok app. I'm not over there on TikTok. So if you see my profile, you just see it, but I'm no longer posting or going on TikTok. So I've seen this happen, but that doesn't mean that that's how it goes. That's the exception to the rule. And I wish that we were more honest with that. My final thing is, Capri talked about how there was a movement of bigger creators, and most of them are white, to be like, hey, these are some small creators you should shout out. And I always think that's a good thing to do, like use your platform to help others. Equity matters. Equity matters, right? However, I too have been a recipient of someone being like, hey, you should go and follow Bree. And it's just a sub account. No one's watching the video. Like I see it on the back end. The same amount of people who are watching and engaging with my videos have been the same for the last 4 years. It's been the same. And I understand that. And I understand why that is. I just think that it's really sad, again, to bring us back to the point. I think it's really sad that we have lost and will continue to lose so many content creators who are Black, bookish ones, because we don't want to engage with their channel because they're Black. We don't want to engage with their channel because they're uplifting Black authors. We don't want to engage with their channel because they have tattoos. We don't want to engage with their channel because they're fat. We don't want to engage with their channel because they're fat, Black, with tattoos, and have locks. It's just like, then what the fuck can you do? How in the fuck do you show up in the world where it's like nothing is good enough? So then you just have to do what you have to do for your own peace. And a lot of Black content creators chose to leave this fucking place. Okay? Pack their shit. Some of them made new Booktube channels. I'm not sure how successful that is, but it's a real thing. Like, it's starting to feel like who's out there? Who's out there consistently doing the work? Because I think our attention span has also impacted the way that we engage with Booktube. People don't want you to be sitting there yappy about some shit that you feel that, you know, whatever book you felt that you felt like it needed a 16-part analysis. People don't want to hear that. Even I'm looking at this video, it is 45 minutes and 24 seconds and I'm still yapping. Because that's what long form content is. We're losing the plot. We're losing the plot. And I don't know if this is just showing my age or it's just like, you can't expect Black people to constantly show up on this app when they're not being afforded the same opportunities as others, and they're also not being respected in that same manner. You can't expect Black people to just be showing up on here, giving y'all some good shit, and then you're not engaging with them. It's hard. It's so hard, even as a Black woman who has aspirations to be a linguist, to see a lot of you white girls, okay, on this platform using African American English and profiting off of it. I see y'all profiting off of it. Every time y'all say it's giving, I want to give something too. Huh? Amen? I want to be giving. I want to show you how much I'm a giver. Anyway, it's frustrating, all in all. Let me know your thoughts. Capri, I'm sorry we lost you, sister. And I hope that you protect your peace and you live your best life. And she still has her Patreon open and still going to be doing content there. And I think that's really where it's at. Like, I show up for my patrons way more than I show up for Lockbooktition as a channel. So I totally understand that. So with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next video. And if this video gets more than 1,000 views, that's just going to also prove that you got to be emotional and say some shit for people to start watching you. Huh?